my iPad as a hotspot because AT&T Uverse doesn't have any. They decided not to put any of our services on, so I've not had cable.
Derek, I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm moving a little slowly with the service. Give me a second. Let me go live.
Yes. Bring on that this chairman of the Joint Chiefs of that, Charles Q. Brown Jr., who held the position of the high. Ready, Dick?
Uh,
Yes, sir.
yes, go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Jerry McIntosh, and this is Our Voices, the People's Meeting. Tonight, we got some guests on that we will be addressing some issues that we know should be addressed and should have been addressed. But first, we'll go to our host, Mr. Derek Scott, who is with the chair of the Democratic Party here. Miss Jill Daggs, who is with the Okaloosa State Committee woman. Cheryl Moran, who's doing so many things in the community. Mr. Vernon Watson, who is where you'll be watching this on WBQP TV, Roku, Fire Stick, YouTube, and also on Facebook. Um, Derek, I'm gonna let you introduce our guests.
Oh, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm actually not going to do the introductions. I think they're with us, if I'm not mistaken. I see someone on. But what I am going to do is we have a couple of topics that we need to discuss with something that I think is troubling that more people need to be aware of that has happened here in this very own Escambia County. And I am going to turn it over to Jermaine to share a little bit about it, and hopefully our guests will be able to join and pick up in the conversation.
Hey everyone, I just appreciate you all for having us. I know that I think they're having a little technical issues, but if you're one of my Facebook friends, or which I think majority of you are Instagram, you know about the case that happened over at Pensacola High School 2 years ago, and it involved Tykia Gaston. At the time, she was 17 years old. I did an interview with her and her mother via your boy Media, and Haley Morissette as well has helped out with that. And we did an interview, and what happened was Tykia, again, was 17 at the time, was told by PHS administration that um, to speak to guidance counselors, it's best to do it during lunch because they're overwhelmed in their offices. So, as she pointed out to me during the interview, she described what B lunch was. I'm young enough to know what B lunch was, but some of you that don't know what B lunch is, it's a split lunch. So it's like A lunch, you go in for the first half of the hour and eat. B lunch, you classroom, eat, go back, and then C lunch, you spend the first 2 quarters of your class, and then you go eat. Well, she was in B lunch, so after she ate halfway through her lunch, she went into, as she was instructed to do by a teacher, and she went in and to go speak to her guidance counselor. While she was there, she was approached by a older gentleman, let me get his name now, but he was a licensed mental health counselor. Long story short, he cornered her on video. He cornered her um, into a corner and proceeded to put his hands on her, um, choking her. And it happened 2 years ago. The only reason why we're only hearing about this now is because the footage was just released, and the mom, Tanyetta, her representation told her to give him a chance to do what he has to do. Um, After she gave him the chances to do what she had to do, she said, I will put this in the hands of some community members that can do some things. And, Haley, myself, and there's a few more that she approached first. And, we're all working in a joint effort. The video is disturbing. I'm a mental health professional. I'm a certified recovery peer specialist. Been working in that for years. And, one thing about de-escalation, if you feel like someone is in some type of a crisis or you're trying to de-escalate, and nowhere in that quote unquote handbook it says corner an individual, and then by no means do you put your hands on them, especially a child. But that wasn't the case this time. I wish we had video where I can cue it up. Maybe, you know what I would do is, if you guys have the ability to allow me to share my screen, I could work on getting the video up so you all can see everything. Um, Very, very interesting. And even if they don't make it on tonight, because I see them keep popping in and out, so I think they're having trouble, I can go to the video of the breakdown of where she was breaking it down to me. Um, and we went step by step, frame by frame. And it's very disturbing. So I don't know. Like I told everyone on the interview that I did with her, why should you care? Because this could easily be your child. He's still employed with Escambia County, and he's working with younger elementary kids up into high school children. Now, um, Ty, Keisha was at the time again 17 years old, so she can tell you verbally with no problem how she felt when it happened, what happened, and all those things. My fear is this happening to any other child, especially elementary kids. Taikisha said in the interview that the resource officer said, if I didn't see it with my very own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it when you told me what happened. So that's where we at with that. Okay, and I can see them joining us now. I think they're freezing up a little bit. But if you could give me some time, I can work on showing that video.
Yep, you have sharing.
Okay. Let me get it up. Let me get it queued up for one. Give me 1 second.
Let's see. It's the go ahead, Jermaine.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I apologize for not being prepared because I had something going on, and Haley was going to sit in for me, and then she had something come up, so I had to rush back to the computer. So I apologize.
Okay.
So why are you doing
that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. McLeod.
Go ahead, Darian.
No, while you're doing that, I was gonna say, welcome to the Gadsons. How are you? Thank you for joining us. I'm gonna unmute you, just to make sure that you can hear us. Can you hear us all okay?
Look like they froze.
Yeah, I can't even unmute. Oh, there they go. Can you hear us okay? Ms. Gaston, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, welcome to the show. You're free. Thank you for coming on. While Jermaine is pulling up the video, in your own words, can you just share a little bit about what happened to you, where things are currently, so that the viewing public can get a better feel of what's happened to you in your experience? I understand this is at Pensacola High School, is that correct?
They froze again.
Mm-hmm.
I think they froze.
Yeah.
Maybe back now.
Yeah. So can y'all can y'all get together? It's because she's out of the
Back in, I think it's a second stream. I'm not sure where it is. Can you all, Miss Gadsden's both, can you all hear us now? Are you able to hear us? Okay, if you could, welcome to the show. I think we got you now. If you could just share with us in your words what happened and where things are today.
Well, basically, my daughter was trying to go find out about her testing at school. She had asked a couple of teachers and the principal about going to check on having her testing. They told her to go during lunch. She went during lunch, and that's when the mental health counselor stopped her. He approached her, cornered her, and asked her where was she going. She let him know that she was looking for her guidance counselor to do her testing. He told her that to get out of the building. She's not supposed to be there. She asked him over and over, could he please, walk her to the guidance counselor or, help her get to her testing. He told her no. Another teacher walked in and she asked her for assistance as well. She also told her no. That's when he grabbed her, threw her on the wall, choked her, and then he let her go, and she walked towards the guidance counselor's office. We've been fighting this for 2 years. Today, it's at a standstill. We're just trying to get something done, either get him out of the schools. Also, my daughter has back issues very, very bad because of this situation. And we're just trying to figure out what's the next step. And we just need our community behind us. We're trying to figure out where to go from here.
So what are they? What is the school saying? Or they just covering it up?
Basically, because they're not saying anything. I've had talks with several of them, the superintendent, the deputy superintendent, and it's just nothing. They called her a disobedient child, but she's never even had a referral at their school. So I don't understand how she gets to be a disobedient child. She doesn't even have that background.
And that's all they could tell you, that
Yes.
she was a disobedient. So had it ever been any issue before?
No. She had never even seen this man before. She did not even know him. This was her first time ever seeing him.
This happened.
We had to actually find out.
Go ahead. Sorry.
We had to find out that he was the mental health counselor because we didn't know if he was a teacher or what he was. So we had to look that up ourselves.
And this happened during the school day, during normal school week, during school hours?
Yeah.
My God.
Yes, it happened like around 12:30 p.m. during school. It was like between.
Have you
And-
contacted? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Cheryl.
I was just going to ask, have you contacted an attorney?
Yes, I did have an attorney. He is still currently holding on, trying to help me fight, but I just told him just give me a chance to help him fight because I think his fight wasn't as strong as I needed it to be. So I do have one, but they've told him the same thing. Basically, they're not going to do anything for a disobedient child.
What is there footage, like video?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The
We're
footage
about to
is
see
from.
that now.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, y'all want to tell us what's happening here?
She's basically telling him that she needs to see her guidance counselor to ask about her testing. I think she missed it the previous day or week or something, and she needed to make it up. So she needed to find out when was the makeup day. So she's asking him to walk her to the guidance counselor.
Okay.
And the guidance counselor's office is like right behind him. Like if he turn around and make maybe 5-6 steps, they'll be there.
So, what was his reason and said that she couldn't go to the counselor, guidance counselor?
He didn't have a reason.
Let's see.
That's Miss Mullins, her teacher that actually told her to go during lunch. She was in her class. She had like a split lunch where she was in the class and then they leave and go to lunch and go back to that class. So that's the teacher that she spoke with.
What is she saying to?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She said she told her, what did she tell you?
I asked her, can she help me? And she told me no.
So
When
she,
she came to the corner, I had to call her name to get her attention. And I asked her, can she help me?
so
And excuse me, I just want to say something. Tomorrow's Taikisha's birthday, so I want to tell her happy birthday, number one. This
And
is
and
this
she
is a. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ms. Gasson. You were saying?
This is a very traumatic. It's very traumatic for her. Just to be frank, she didn't want to do the interview today.
Hmm.
This is hard for her to relive. When we did the interview, she took a lot of breaks, to regain her composure, and because it's been very traumatic for her. And one of the big things that she expressed in our interview is that everybody pointed the finger at her, even some people that looked like us.
Mhm.
And when she requested through the school to see a counselor about this traumatic incident, who do you think they sent?
Hmm.
They sent
Yeah.
this guy,
Yeah.
the same guy who did this.
Yeah, we transferred her school. That day was her last day at PHS. So I transferred her school. The superintendent, everybody gave me all these recommendations. I finally picked one. I sent her to the school and I did tell them that I wanted her to have counseling. So when they finally called me and it was like, we have a counselor for her. Do you still want counseling for her? I'm like, yeah. So they said they were going to send the counselor out to the school so they can counsel her. And there was like her counselor would be Mark Rogers. And I was like, no, that's the man that, did this to her. This is the reason why she has to have counseling. So and after that, they changed it. They did send a different counselor out, but my daughter was like, she was trying to change everything that she said. Anything that she said about this situation, basically the counselor turned her down or tried to make her change her words. So I told that counselor, like, I don't want her to see her anymore. And one more thing, after that, they did send him to her school. It was on a Friday. She's doing her work and he just walks in. She has a panic attack. The school, Acceleration Academy, that's the school that she was going to, called me and they're like, hey, we've never seen Ty like this. Please come and get her. We don't know what's going on, but she's afraid of this man. So I went and got her and I spoke with the assistant principal and to get an understanding, let her know what had happened and why she was, acting that way, scared and stuff. And just went from there. It's been fighting ever since.
So she's still at the same school right now that you transferred her to?
No, she graduated. She's graduated now.
Good.
She's currently enrolled in college for global business management.
That's good. It's really good. Glad you're able to do that. I want to say thank you for sharing your story. I know that's incredibly difficult right now. Ms. Gatz, I just want to ask the teacher that the guidance or the mental health counselor is still currently employed at Pensacola High School, or still as far as you know?
He is not at Pensacola High School, but he is employed for the Escambia County School District. He can go to any school and mentor, and counsel any age. From what we hear, he's trying to do elementary school kids at this point. So I have no idea.
Okay.
What would you like to see as an outcome out of all of this for him to no longer be working for Escambia school systems? Like, what is
I really don't want him fired. Yes, his license should be taken away. There's no way he should be able to counsel anyone. At this point, he needs counseling. He has to work on himself before he can try to help someone else. Like, I don't know what he's going through, but yeah, that's just an issue he has to deal with, within himself.
And if you look into his background, he's a former probation officer, he's former military. So, he's bringing different parts of his lived experience into a field where, and then here's the thing, here's my key thing, and this is just me, this is not the family, no one else talking, and I made this point in the interview, Pensacola High School has to be very careful because that's the center high school in the area that has pushed Black people out. I live on East Street. I remember a lot of my coworkers back in the day would say, oh yeah, we don't go on the alphabet streets. And that's our side of town. And now I see people who I would never see down there walking their dogs, and they care so much about that area where they're picking up feces in a plastic bag. I mean, like, I have never seen that on my side of town. And so now you have this high school that has flipped, where more privileged kids are coming in. This could be perceived as, and even if it was 2 years ago, we know gentrification around that area has been going on way before that. So this could be easily perceived that you're taking a school and a student, and I tell you what, just to make it frank, like, this wouldn't have happened to a white child. No way. No way this wouldn't have happened to a white child without a meeting prior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you taken this footage and the story to other outlets like WEAR and the like?
I've taken it to I'm sorry. I've taken it to WEAR and they said she looked aggressive. Channel 5 did interview us. We haven't heard anything yet. So we're just waiting to hear back from them. I think she's still doing her investigation. So.
And I do want to chime in also on that. After I spoke with that was Ms. Gaston's interaction with Channel 3, and then after I spoke with them and I showed they looked at the the interview in full, then they said that gave them a better concept of what was going on. And so now they are saying that they don't know what to do with it because it makes it difficult because they have to tell two sides and the other party won't talk to them.
Right.
That's
So
Yeah.
you said they're saying that she was the aggressor. Is that what they are saying? Is that what they said it looked like
Yeah,
to
they
them?
said that. Yeah, they said she looked aggressive. So,
So she looked aggressive because she was moving side to side? Because you can't even see anything in that video except for her moving. It looks to me like he's blocking her. But
Oh,
let's say she was going left, right, and you're blocking her. Then a teacher comes up, or whoever that lady is, that sent her there. And then all of a sudden she's on a wall. I don't understand what aggression they could have seen that would justify hands going around her neck, period.
Right.
If
and I
she
would,
didn't punch, kick, whatever,
Yeah.
it's not justified, period.
Mhm.
and
Even if-
if I understood, because Jermaine, you said you said, Ms. Gaston, you said that she was aggressive, but then you said they saw the video, so they made it an assumption that she was aggressive because she was a Black female. It sounds like what you're saying, and then they saw the video. Am I understanding that's the context? That's the timeline. They looked at her and saw, oh, she's
No.
aggressive. Oh, they saw the
They saw
video first.
Mhm.
Okay.
When they saw the video, they said she looked aggressive. I don't know if it was because she was moving side to side, but she was moving side to side because he started yelling in her face.
Right.
So she was getting him out of her face. She would move to one side, he would get back in her face and yell, and then she moved to the other side and he'd do the same. So
And the yelling was to tell her to go back to class?
pointed you right there.
To get out the building.
Oh, to get out of that building.
Now, if he didn't know, you guys had never seen each other, so was he just stopping people at random there, or?
I was actually talking to a lady in front of him because I had came in the building behind her. And whenever he came around the corner, he just came straight to me and he stepped in front of the lady and was just telling me to get out the building.
That's crazy. I've
And
never
then
heard a
personally,
student
me-
can't be in a building during school time.
Right.
That is the most absolute ridiculousness that I've ever heard. You can't be in the building during school time.
and they
Okay.
won't pass this to go see the guidance counselor. So it's like, how can she even won't write her a pass? And as a school employee, you should have been more than happy to help her, a child that wants to get her testing done, who wants to try to graduate and get, good grades. You should have just took her to her guidance counselor. You're there to help them. You're there to help the children.
Have you gone to the your representative for the school district?
I don't know.
And Derek or Joe, you can answer this for me. Would that be any help?
I think the front line should be between the superintendent. I assume this was 2 years ago, so that would have been the superintendent who's no longer here, right? So you would, in my mind, go to the superintendent. Keith Leonard should be abreast of it, but certainly David Williams should be right there in the mix now.
Well,
I think.
Spoken with. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking like, everything is so sticky. Because again, I want to encourage all of you. We're going to load that video up on YouTube, and that way, you all can take a look at it. It is on my page, the actual interview of between all of us of what happened that day. But I do want to state that she did try to go file charges, and I was very disappointed in our newly police chief on how he handled the situation. Pretty much they were told that charges couldn't be pressed on the individual. And I think this is a
Why?
sticky situation because of the length of time that passed. You know, we really want him fired. I think we have to work backwards then forward, and we have to get his license taken away. Without a license, you can't practice. You know, the certification board is, you know, he have to have his job at least paused. And if we can just stop him with his license, then we can point back at the Escambia County school district, and we don't have to cause this ruckus to say, fire him, fire him, fire him. We can point to what the certification board found cause, and then we could come at the school board saying, like, what did you miss here, and how are you going to make it better moving forward?
Did you file a complaint with the board?
It's
Yes,
already been filed.
yeah. And I did speak to the superintendent. I talked to the deputy superintendent almost every single day. So when I called, they knew exactly who I was, what I was talking about. They knew it all because I talked to them every day. So, and when we did go to the police department, when we walked in, they're like, yeah, we already know who y'all are. No, you can't press charges. Sorry. They say he was acting as a parent. That's the reason. It's a law.
So when is it that you cannot file charges against someone that person has made a charge against? I don't get that, because you know, it seems to me you ought to be able to file a charge. Now, whether they charge the person or not, it's a different thing. That person
Right.
ought to be able to file that charge against
They-
whoever have assaulted them, or you know, and it looked like assault to me from
Oh,
my
definitely.
background.
And Mr. McIntosh, if you don't mind, I want to share one more
Go ahead.
video because I think it's, you know, again, the student was going through so much with this, and to constantly relive is just such a traumatic event. But I do want to share this one video where you can take side by side of what she's saying and the video. So let me just play that. When he cornered you right there, you was trying to walk off. What were you trying to go?
I was trying to move because at first we were just talking like regular conversation. You know, I was telling him. Then he started yelling in my face. So that's
What was he saying?
he get out the building, get out. Like he wasn't trying to hear nothing I was saying. He was just yelling. So that's why I kept moving side to side to get him out of my face.
So that's a quick excerpt of it, but it gives you a little bit more contents of what you can't hear, you know. And one of the big things that she said was, you know, when he came out, he had his arms stretched out saying, I didn't do anything. And I think he actually believed that, you know, and that's the problem, number one. And then also, number two is he was escorted off the building that day.
Yeah,
You know,
he was
told
escorted
to
off
leave.
yeah. When the principal called me, the first thing she said was, your daughter did nothing wrong. She's not in any trouble. She said, but they said a teacher put his arm across her chest. That's what she told me. And then basically he had been escorted off the premises. I have I guess their statements or what is it? Their statements.
Witness statement.
Yeah, like their witness statements. The lady who's standing there, Miss Mullins, she said she did not see him touch her in any type of way. But she's looking right at her. So.
That's crazy. I mean, and then you have to wonder how many more African American students has he harassed or assaulted. You know, that should be investigated, or have anybody else come forward to say that he has done something like that. And Jermaine was saying that this guy is a former probation officer, Jermaine, and a military guy.
Correction officer. So I believe he worked in the jail.
But you know, correctional officer, they deal with people with chokeholds and all of that. So they to bring him under control. And the thing about it, he's in a school. This guy should not never be in a school again, anywhere near students.
Right.
To not know what's how students feel and react, and he escalated this problem. That you can see it right there on tape, and then for the teacher person to say they saw nothing, and the video is right there for to be shown. It's really
What was the reason for him asking her to get out of the building? What initiated that?
Basically because I walked in after the lady.
They're not supposed to be in the building during lunch, but they're supposed to go see their guidance counselors during lunch.
And she was getting ready to take a test that same day. That she had to, speak with her guidance counselor about. So she had legit reasoning to be in there, but he never stopped and asked. He didn't care. If I'm not mistaken, is that correct? Did they freeze?
Yes.
That's correct. Okay, thank you. And here's the thing. I think the bigger problem here, we could talk about this guy. His name is Mark Rogers. We could talk about Mr. Rogers all day long. But the biggest problem that's getting lost was, especially in the interview, when I call her Ty, when Ty said she is being told repeatedly, like in so many words, she deserved it, or she's aggressive, or no, like it's her fault.
Yeah.
So she's been living with this and being told that, and even after it happened, that teacher that you see in the video went back and told the class about it, broke confidentiality. So right now you're starting a whispering campaign that it was her fault. The news, you're aggressive. It was your fault, and all you keep hearing that, do you know thank God it had that seed having planted in her head, and as she's going on further in her education and making something out of her life, she's working on multiple businesses that she's sprouting from the ground up. But at the same time, when she gets a moment of vulnerability and she think about that day, she has to fight through that. And that's the bigger problem than what he did. It's the scars that she's left with that no one else has to deal with but those two people on that screen that we see. And so that's what makes me so angry. The principal at PHS was shocked by what she saw. She immediately left the room. The resource officer said, if you would have told me this and I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed you. Was so crazy, but he had to see it to believe it. And now we're doing all this extra fighting and campaigning for some kind of justice to be done. And, even us, I know everybody on this screen. I know everybody on the screen care about this community. I know everybody on the screen has fought for years for Black people. The more than Black people know. And even when we log off and go to bed, they have to deal with, And so what can we do? That's all I'm asking. The community, when we posted it originally on Facebook, it was an immediate outrage, from all gender, from all races. Everyone was disturbed by what they seen. And, but, unfortunately, in this day and age, we are a victim of the moment, a good hour go by and then, people go on with their day and their lives. And, so it's hard, but we're going to continue to work at it.
Yeah, I still people that write me sometimes and, ask me how she's doing and tell me to keep fighting and, tell me a situation that they've had. But people still write me and they are signing the petition slowly, but they're definitely signing it.
So the resource officer, the principal, who's the principal at that school now? Or was the principal at that time? Jermaine, can you?
I'm sorry about that. I don't know at the moment who was the principal at that time. Um, I don't even know if it's the same principal. Um, yeah, because
And you know the statement that they wouldn't have believed it if they hadn't seen it. That's a problem in itself. That they don't take the students seriously enough to do a thorough investigation to find out if that student is telling the truth or not. But the thing about
Mr.
it is,
McIntosh, you know what the bigger problem is here too as well is that the resource officer told Ms. Gaston that it's a law that teachers or administration can treat your students as if they're a parent. And that's the reason why they weren't allowed to press charges. And the resource officer told her that you need to fight to get this law changed because I have a daughter in the school system and I wouldn't want this to happen to my daughter. That was relayed over to the PPD. And when she came back to say something to the resource officer, he told her, I can't talk to you.
right.
I'm not allowed to talk to you no more. So, um, you know, we know where we live. Escambia County, no one puts the scam in Escambia County like certain people around here. Um, and it's just like I said, I mean, this stuff in Pensacola goes on all the time. Um, and we all on this screen, we know, we care. Like I'm sitting here talking to you guys and I'm preaching to the choir. But it's like, how long are we going to let this happen? You know, it infiltrates our school, it infiltrates the city council, the county commissioner, it infiltrates the jobs and all kind of things, the contracts, the bidding, the FRP. Everything is really bad here in the Escambia County. Now with the addition to this new current administration and all the hell they done raised in the last 30 days, like when is enough is enough. Not for everybody on the screen, but like when is everybody just going to in the city, not just black people, the have nots, the disagree, when are we just gonna say enough is enough? You know, like this is unreal. I don't know if you all remember Samantha G from Tate High School, the young Haitian student, when the yearbook scandal broke out, and something happened with I forgot what happened with her, but I know that Lieutenant May called me. I was in Jacksonville, and he told me that he wanted me to go live about the situation, and I did. And this girl was in the top 5 of her class, and they weren't gonna let her walk over something that happened in the yearbook. But then, the white students were allowed to walk, and she was the fall guy. It was okay when it was quiet, but I went on Facebook Live and I did a marathon that night. I did 3 straight hours, and we end up getting almost 15,000 views on that. And I instructed everybody to call the superintendent the next morning, and they unplugged the phone. Got so many phone calls, they unplugged the phone, and she ended up walking. That's the power of the people. And, that's the kind of people, the power we need, not just for this one situation, for every situation, because right now it's needed more than it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. People who does not like people that look like us are empowered from what's going on in DC. They feel justified in their hate. And now is the time for us to really bring the best out of us. All of us have been doing a great job for the last 30 years of I'm 43, so go ahead. Some of us have been doing an amazing job the last 30 years. Mr. McIntosh and Miss McIntosh, has laid so much of trailblazing and all of us, and my thing is right now it's going to take the best of us, like everything that we've done doesn't mean nothing if we don't step up and put what we did to shame. Because right now it's really hard, and especially us. We got DeSantis and Trump. You know, it's tough.
So Jermaine, I agree with you, but this is also, I see that we have to look at the opportunity and the moments in the struggle to be thankful, because we know what we're up against. Those who have been a part of, we already know. But despite the other side, despite the hate, despite all of that, we have no choice but to persevere and excel. I'm glad to see the young lady, Ty, moving past that in a way. Like I know it's traumatic and all that, and she has people like you around to help her through that with the mental health aspect. But pushing forward and still going to college and making better of herself in that situation is a true testament to who we are and our perseverance. So I want to, applaud the young lady for that and encourage her to keep moving forward, because unfortunately we live, because of who we are, because of what we look like, the color of our skin, we're going to be attacked. We got to keep our head on swivel. We got to keep prayed up, armored up, hand locked up, you know what I mean? Arm in arm with each other, moving forward, because we're always better together. But just it should be a reminder that we have to keep pushing. We have to keep pushing in spite of, because it's going to, especially in this current administration, we have to expect that it's going to come.
Yeah, it becomes a point where you just get tired that a part of our culture has to be perseverance.
Right, but
Black
that's when we
identity
lean on
is,
each other. That's when we lean on each other, because to whom much is given, much is required, and we gonna, we're blessed people. So we going to have haters. We're going to have those who want to stop us, who want to block us, and all that other stuff. But we just got. It's just a testament to who we are, pushing through and being better in spite of.
I agree. I definitely agree. I think, when it comes to that certain thing, those that are filled with hate, and, I want y'all to really just listen to what I'm about to say, because it's going to sound crazy. But if you're a fan of agenda of dividing, the people that's filled with hate has did an amazing job. Like they have did a number on our people. Because in the 60s, if something like this would have happened, what happened to the Thai, there would have been a mass uproar. The only reason why Derek has a job as the chairman at the Escambia Democratic Party is what people in the 60s have done. To give us that right to vote, to open the door for Black people. Everything they're trying to repeal in DC right now. So they have done such a crazy work of a job on our people, to where like certain issues people don't even care, or they'll even go an extra step and cast that vote for the people that can't stand them. So I just feel like right here, right now, it's unbelievable, because we're talking about a young, bright, Black, at the time child, now young woman. And if that's not a rallying cry, I don't know what is. And I remember watching an old speech from Malcolm X, and the way he talked about, we will put you in the ground for touching our woman. That was the standard that he was putting back then. And we're talking about women, but it just was hard for me to watch someone put their hands on a Black girl that way. And if that don't bring out the outrage in all of us, we're going to have a long, rough 4 years ahead of us.
We got to also lead by example on that.
I'm not advocating for violence. I want to make sure I say that.
Right.
But you get what I'm saying, though.
I do.
There's power. I mean, there's political power. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, and I thank y'all. I thank y'all for having us on Our Voices to tell this story, and there's power in social media. Certain stories, like with the Gastons, that's not a moment of rage. That needs to be we in this thing for the long haul. That don't need to be it come across my news feed, you shake your head like that's sad, and you keep scrolling like nothing happened. Because one day, it could easily be your challenge. You're gonna want everybody lining up for you.
Right.
So if you don't come together for the Gastons, then it's gonna be hard for people to come together for you.
Yeah, going back to what Malcolm X said, he also that the black woman was one of the most unprotected people on the planet, especially in the US of A. And so that's why he said, if you put your hands on our women, we'll put you in the ground. And people have a tendency to say, oh, he was violent. No, because the violent people was the one doing the violence against all of us at the time. The Klan wasn't non-violent; they were violent people. Ordinary white citizens in this country was violent people. They were lynching people, hanging them from trees, and having picnics at the same time they did. So we have to tell the truth about who the violent people were, who they are to this day. We, we they were enlist you into the military for an incident that'll happen overseas. You have to go over there and die for it. But we supposed to just take it and lay down, and be a foot, be a risk for violent people that continue to commit violence against us, from whether it's in the law enforcement or whether it's just ordinary people in the street who think they have the right to do what they want to do to us, or whether it's in educational institution, whether it's in the legislators, and whether it's in DC into the White House, because these bigots are there and they're committing violence against people, whether it's, continue to try to starve people to death, kill USDA, trying to get rid of the civil rights movement, which is the last vestige of protection that we have that will allow people to do what they want to do through discrimination. Violence is not just killing people. Violence is making sure that you don't have access to capital, to those potential violent situation, because poverty is the breeder of violence in this country. So yeah, we have to tell it like it is.
Mr. McIntosh, I love talking to you, and here's why. I see your Malcolm X quote, and I'll raise you another one. I didn't know I RSVP to a Malcolm quoting party, but this is my kind of party. He also said, the racists never understand a peaceful language. They're speaking their language to us for 400 years. And here we are in 2025. And like, I think you put it just perfectly, this is nothing new. Like, even on the interview, I was like, this is classic them. She looks aggressive. Classic them. But the problem is their playbook, like, it's, let's talk about it like in football terms. How long is the team gonna run the same play before you do something to stop them? Like, we have seen them run this playbook over and over again, and they won Super Bowl after Super Bowl with one play. Mm-hmm. After a while, it don't come on them, it's on us.
Exactly.
And that's why I want to thank, I know he's probably spending time with his family, but I want to thank your boy. I want to thank Haley. I want to thank y'all, because I don't want to, go in on Channel 3 right now. I don't want to go in on WKRG, but we got our own outlets. This is one of them, So, hey, she looked aggressive for you. She looked like a queen to us. So I'll take over there to us, and get this story out. And I had to explain to them, it's like, it's a culture thing. And, you can go in the barbershop right now and see, you bring up who's better, LeBron James and Michael Jordan. There's gonna be some shouting. There's gonna be some yelling. Might even be some cussing, but ain't nobody fighting and ain't nobody shooting. We're passionate people. You know what I'm saying? And what seems aggressive to you is passion to us. And, it's a cultural issue. They see black skin, they see girls with braids, they see a little this, a little that. Oh, it's aggressive. And, you can't blame people for ignorance, you know? So
Yeah, but they're ignorant because they want to be ignorant. They, because it is not, that was thrown up on us. Violence was thrown on us by people who was committing violence. And, the Black community became, through the media, the Achilles heel of America, because they were telling the world that we are violent people while they were blowing up people all around the world. And,
But isn't the owners have to believe it?
And burning towns that we built. We were the violent one, whether it's in Rosewood, whether it's in Oklahoma, whether it's in Elaine, Arkansas, whether it's in Georgia, Texas, Chicago, wherever it was. They were the one committing the crimes along with law enforcement, because we can't leave them out because most of them at the time was in the Klan. So, but then they perpetrated this lie. We were the violent people. And if you defend yourself, they lynch you for defending yourself against the aggressor. And now nonviolent. Martin Luther King was one of the most nonviolent person on the planet. What they do? They murdered him. I don't want nobody talking about assassination. That was murder. The assassination make it sound good when you change the language, but he was murdered. So we have to tell the truth about the atrocious atrocities that has been inflicted upon us.
Yeah, and we got to continue to tell those truths because they're not allowed to be taught no more. You know what I mean?
But they were never taught. That's the thing, that they have tricked even Black people into believing that, Black history, Black history is being done away with. It was never taught in the schools. When did you learn? You might have learned a little bit about Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman, but they teach you about Nat Turner in school.
No, I agree, because most of the stuff that I learned from you and Miss McIntosh at the J.E. Hall Center. And but at least right now, I mean, even the bare minimum can't be taught to even spark your brain to go and pull out this. Like we had to go get an encyclopedia at my age, but all you need is a spark to pull out of Google. But if you don't if you don't even have that spark of, because they sped past Malcolm, they sped past slavery. But now it has to be taught. I remember I was going over something with my son, Frederick Douglass. They was teaching him over in Jacksonville, and they didn't call them slaves. They called them laborers. And so I went down to that school that next morning, and I raised all kind of hell. Now we ain't gonna do that. We're not gonna teach my son and his fellow students that call it how it was. If you was bold enough to put us in chains, be bold enough to tell the story of how it went.
But they're not.
Yeah.
Because they don't want their children. See, it's not they care about what you learn, but they don't want their children to learn. And we are not teaching our children what they need to do to counter the onslaught of lies that's going to continue to come out, because they're changing the language in the books, like you said, from slavery and forced labor to indentured servitude and all of that crap that they're trying to push on us. So we have to now come to the point where we got to teach our children on weekends. We have to teach them how to decompress from all the bull that they're going to be taught every day in school, which is mostly lies, and teach them about the history of who they are, so they can feel the greatness of who they are. And many people say, oh, in school, they can learn it in school. We pay taxes, right? But until that day that, we are able to teach the truth about the history of what took place from slavery. We got to do that ourselves on whether it's, after school or on weekends. We're going to have to do it. We don't have no choice. Because if they don't, our children will be back another 100 years after, because they're trying to kill the civil rights bill. Make no mistakes about that. Trump and them trying to get rid of that, which is, like I said, the last vestige of any things that we have a basis to sue from, at least for now, because everything else is gone.
This is a defining moment. There's been a lot of defining moments over our history, and this is just another one. And I just feel like it's time for people to step up on their level, in their city, in their state. And we can't, even here in this city and county, you may be cool with certain politicians, but those politicians that's not have our people in our favor, then it's time to let them know.
And I will say on that, Jermaine, that we have to treat that across the board. We have to first understand that our politicians are not our teachers. They're not our community activists. They are there to represent us as far like in legislation in the city or the county or the congressional district or whatever that is. It is up to us, those people in the community that are stepping up to be those voices of the community, to be a part of teaching us. I hear people when they talk about or complain about what is not being taught in the school. And what comes to mind is like, why would you even want people or a group of people or the powers that be, oppressors or whatever, in charge of teaching your children about their history? That is on us to do, and teaching our children, our legacy, about who we are and where we came from. That should never be on the responsibility of someone who can't understand us because they're not like us. We're, you know what I mean? Like we're different. We're unique people, and then they lie. So it has to be on us.
Well, and I understand exactly what you're saying, and I know your response to what I was saying, about the school, and they're not teachers, but my comment wasn't just stopping at the school board. Goes down to your county commissioner, your city council, because listen, everybody goes in with the right attitude and the right heart.
Yeah.
They normally don't come out that way.
Right.
So,
but okay.
No, I'll just say this is twofold. I mean, it's so many layers that we're fighting at the same time.
Right.
And we're under stream the rest. Yeah, we're gonna need it's all hands on deck.
Right.
And, but it does make. Go ahead. I know. I see you trying to get in there. What you got?
No, I just want to make sure that we're not doing a circular firing squad, because oftentimes we have very little representative that is a representative of us. So for the same amount of pressure that we put on those 2-3 people, we need to spread that out to the other ones because they represent us also. And constituents, the voting, constituents in their districts, they owe us to represent us of what we, the community, want, or we remove them. So I'm in agreement with what you say, like the representative they do work for us, but that's all of the representatives across the board.
Unfortunately, our people they're comfortable with familiarity than revolution. I love that part. Or we would remove them, and I just wish that was a little bit more truer than it sounds. I don't think they're going to remove anyone that has done harm. And that goes for, I mean, look at the last election. I mean, and not just nothing city, county. I mean, there's no way we shouldn't be talking about President Harris right now or Madam President.
We do have to remember that all politics is local. So
no, I was just making a point.
Right.
I definitely get your point. I'm more concerned about the local than the national. But what I'm saying is, but in reverse of that, when we're talking about people in the city, in this county, you know, the more thing that people love to talk about is the national narrative. So I was just making that example. If they didn't even come out for what they're more concerned about. Now, everybody on this screen right now knows that, you know, our state representative, our county commissioners, our city council, our ECUA, those are the people that's directly affecting us before anything they do in DC. We know that on the screen, but the average rank and file citizen does not want to, you know, acknowledge that. So if that's their main thing that they care about is the national election, and they didn't even get off their butts for what was more important, and we all knew what was on the line for that one in November. But what I'm saying is, like, for us, like, to me, to see my neighborhood flip, to absolutely see my neighborhood flip, knowing that now my black district that has been historically a black district will probably pretty soon see its first white face representative. I mean, and to be honest, I better not say that. Go ahead.
No, I get you. What I would say is you guys are saying you're on two sides of the same coin. I think for me, all of this starts with, and I continue, I know you're going to be like the Democratic Party chair, so you of course you would say this, but it's true that all of this starts with voting, right? So if you, for me, Jermaine, to your point, we had an opportunity to make some changes, or not even make change. I'll say to continue what has been built, right? And Escambia County folks only had 76%. That means there were, of the registered voters, that means there were 24% that saw all of what was going on, all of what was at stake, and still chose to sit at home, right? And a large percentage of that, from a reporting standpoint, were communities of color. Now we're faced with the find out stage, right? Now it's like, well, what can we do? What can we do? I certainly hope that on April 1st, we know what we can do, right? That's the first step. We have an opportunity to change directions, but we've got to get out. Same people can't just sit at home. You know, we field calls just last week. We got calls about people wanting to protest because their SNAP benefits are getting cut. Well, I'm a registered Democrat. Did you vote? Well, no. So it's kind of, I'm not sure what you want me to do now. I will stand with you in the protest, but your protest time was November 5th of 2024, right? But now we're in my Section 8. I just got a letter from Section 8 saying that I no longer qualify. Did you vote? Nah, but are y'all gonna protest? Well, what is it that you want me to protest? That you didn't vote, or that your Section 8 is getting cut? I'm just trying to figure it out. So I'm hoping that there's enough for us to do what we can do. And to your point, we do need to hold all of our representatives, and more importantly, I'm gonna say this, and I know somebody's gonna say something about it, but it's in my spirit, so I'm gonna say it. We're gonna have to stop voting for Black folks just because the fact that they're Black, because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So just because we're Black don't mean they need to have a job that represents the collective. That's what I would say. Now what I'm not saying is you need to replace it with someone not Black, but because you're Black, because you're my fraternity brother, because my sorority sister, because this,
Because you
that,
pay my
because.
light bill.
Nah.
Never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So those are not the reasons to vote for somebody because they go to your church or because you went to high school with them, they're your classmate.
Right.
That's not the reason to vote for someone, right? So we're going to continue to find ourselves in this situation. It goes back to your point. It's time to maybe we need to think about removing some people. But and I'm not talking about Black folks. I'm saying representatives in its entirety. But at that point, the only way you can do that is to vote. So I will say this is going to be a tough one. Going back to now that the Gassens are back, what I would say is I hope that as we air the story and the story gets a little bit more traction to that NAACP combined with Movement for Change, combined with the Coalition for 100 Black Women, combined with all of the Divine Nine, combined with the fellowship, well, not the Fellowship of Churches, what is it? The Baptist Ministers Alliance, can actually take this on and do something about it. There's something that we need to do. You can't continue to sit idly by. It's time to get in the fight and get engaged.
Right.
And this is that time. So, I'm not sure if you guys have spoken to NAACP about it. I'm not sure what their response have been, but certainly I know Mr. McIntosh now knows. So it's time for us to do something. So you have our attention. What I would ask is from Ms. Gasson and Ty, from your perspective, how would you like us to show up for it? If I can answer that.
I really don't know. That's why I reached out to Jermaine because I know, this is something that he has done. He's spoken and marched and walked and everything, but I have no idea. But whatever y'all come up with, I am down. I'm with it. I need y'all at this point. So.
Say less.
Okay.
You certainly have reached out to the right folks. I know you got Jermaine. I know Haley's involved, and so certainly when Haley's involved, that means everybody gonna be involved. So, I guess for me, what I would say to you is, Ty, don't let this be your defining moment. Continue to persevere. I know it's hard. You can be traumatized, but make it count. Do your best. Do what you are divined and purposed to do, and that is to succeed because you're strong, you are Black, and you're a woman. And there's nothing that you can't do, provided that you put yourself forward to do so. So I want to encourage you for your bravery, and thank you for sharing, your story with us. I don't know if anybody else has anything.
I just wanted to say that we are planning protests in the coming months and days, not but for just all of the things that happen, like some of the things Derek talked about, SNAP program, people Section 8 housing. We're gonna have to expose what's taking place, and what is happening to U.S. schools, sister. But the thing about it, we're gonna have to get out there and do it. There was 3 phases to the civil rights movement that blueprint that was there. And that's, you had people in the boardroom, you had people that was in politics who were writing legislation, but the majority of the people the foot soldiers and all of that was on the ground, making sure that they dramatized what was taking place.
Right.
And so the issues didn't go by the wayside by just depending on the politicians of the court. There was all 3 working at the same time. And then you had different organizations working. They might have not been working always together on certain things, but they was all going in the same direction. So it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we protect our generation, and every generation has the responsibility of protecting itself as much as possible. But it is incumbent upon us to make sure that generation yet unborn is protected. And that means we're going to have to make sure that laws are put in place, legislation is put in place to make sure that those laws, those individuals are protected. Just like the people who came before us, but from even in slavery, they had hope looking to the future for a time like this. And we are allowing democracy to down our watch. And I remember going to Jill's program. We said we're going to allow democracy to down our watch. But if we don't do anything, if we're not out protesting, if we're not fighting, democracy will die. But we have to make sure that it don't. And I know a lot of people saying we're tired, we're tired of marching, we're tired of fighting, but that's what you do. Like they said, hard time makes strong men and women. Time make weak women and men. So we have to have both, but we know that as the lady said in the poem, life for me haven't been no crystal stairs. It's got tacks in it, boards broken, but she was still climbing. And she was saying that to her son, mother to son point. So we have to continue to climb and continue to fight and struggle for those things. As Frederick Douglass said, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. But he also said, nothing comes to us without a demand. And so if, power concedes nothing without a demand, it never has and it never will. So we must fight the power that is in the way of our progress. And people like the guy that was standing in your way, sister, you still progress, that he was standing in your way. You showed that you weren't going to allow that to stop you. And that was that thing about the resilience of Black people. We have continued to move forward, even though people have tried to block us at the doors of education, block us at the doors of getting capital, block us on every front, but we still move forward, and we have to continue to do that.
Well, I hate talking after you, Mr. McIntosh. This would be so hard. I will say this, every year, Movement for Change reminds us that freedom is not free. And Malcolm X has to remind us all the time that the price of freedom is death. And yet here we are coming up on another year of Jubilee where these people are going to congregate in Selma, Alabama to celebrate those that died for freedom, for vote. And if the price of freedom is death and people have died for us to vote, but yet this generation can pick and choose and give you every excuse why they won't vote, then we always going to be in shackles. And, even right now, I can't think of one school board person that I can call right now that will care. And that's just me. That's a personal thing. But they were voted in. Were they voted in, Derek? I want to make sure I was correct. They were voted in, So my thing is like every time, and Tonya, just know I am not talking about you, but my phone rings all the time with people that have problems with either the police, with their politician, with their schooling, and they don't get their stuff to vote, and they don't come out when it's time to come out for certain things. So, I remember the one thing when I was in high school, I don't know about y'all, but everybody always said, man, that couldn't be me, because if I was alive during slavery, if I was alive during civil rights, well, that time is now. Right. It's no different right now than what it was back then. They just manipulated us to make us that we have just a little bit more freedom than we actually really do have. And Ty, I want to tell you on your birthday eve that your situation has sparked spirited conversation when y'all was not online. And so this is not in vain for you,
Yeah.
you know, and for you to continue to progress and push, it don't speak more about you. It speak more from where you came from.
Mm.
And you keep going, you keep pushing, but it's not in vain. I mean, it took 24 months for it to hit the light, but when it hit the light, you got a lot of powerful people talking. We even debating each other a little bit, but that's all right. And, but we're debating about how to move forward.
Yeah.
And that's not a debate at all. And I call that a strategy.
Yeah.
So I appreciate all y'all for
Yeah.
allowing us to come on and tell this story and even verbally spar a little bit about how the best way to tackle it. Because I think that we all are lieutenants of our own perspective. One of these perspectives gonna break through, if not many. And, you know, and that's the great thing about Dr. King and Malcolm X. You know, there were two giants and two viewpoints. Somebody was gonna break through, if not
Right.
both.
Right.
And so y'all just pray for me.
Always.
I
I'm
just
taking
have-
a harder mountain up.
I just have one other question. I'm gonna let you guys go. Is Ellison Bennett involved in this at all?
Yes. When it first happened, Channel 3 had Ellison Bennett contact me, and yes, we've talked ever since. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's what I need to know. But guarantee you got some folks on your side. So
Thank y'all. I thank y'all so much.
be with you. And thank you for sharing your story, Ty. We appreciate you all.
Thank all
Certainly
y'all for listening. Thank y'all so much.
happy to do so.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, happy to do so. Be blessed. We will let you all go. Be blessed. And we will make sure that we stay in contact. Jermaine has your information, so and he can give you all of ours. So whatever you need, we'll be fighting right along. We're gonna strategize, as Jermaine said, and we see what the next best steps are and how to move this forward to get some resolve to it.
Okay. Thank y'all again.
No problem. Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well.
So certainly, guys, we want to make sure that we keep the Gadsens top of mind. Certainly keep them in your prayers. Anybody know anything, if you're watching and you hear something, you're saying, well, what about this? Please reach out and let us know, and we will certainly make sure we stay on top of that. But that's something. It's sad that it took us 2 years to hear about this story, but I do realize that we live in a scanty account, so it's not, although it's sad, it certainly is not surprising.
Yeah, and thanks to Jermaine also for bringing this to our attention. And he is one of those activists that is on the front line, for the community. So definitely lifting him up in prayer, like he asked, because he needs it. You know what I mean? He needs our support. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now that we have talked about that, I guess we can give it a little bit more light and switch subjects. And well, I don't know if we can, but let's talk about what everybody has going on. And I'll start with you, Mr. McIntosh. How was your first meeting? What else is going on, and how can we help?
The first meeting was good. We was planning our strategy so we can make sure that you all with the Democrat Party that want to come can come to the next meeting. We're doing it on the 4th Thursday next month instead of the third Thursday. I know because you all have y'all meetings on the third Thursday, so we're gonna do it on the 4th Thursday. So you can come and talk about strategies for getting out the vote and getting people to the polls and all of that and what they need to do. And it's to make sure there's ongoing information that is being disseminated by you and the Democrat Black Caucus and the Democrat Party. So hopefully that everything will be so that we can all get together as much as possible and participate more in what's taking place, so people can educate themselves and be informed so they can make an educated decision that are going to best benefit them. Also, the Move for Change is having its 28th annual Freedom is Not Free banquet, which is June the 20th. And we have Jasmine Bernie Clark, who will be our keynote speaker on that day. And happy to have her. The doors open at 5:30. That's our social hour is 5:30 to 6:30, and then we go into our to our speaking and making sure everything go good from that point on. Also, we will. Before that, though, we will be out in the street protesting some of the things that's going on because, cuts to SNAP program, cuts to the environment protection, which affect us more than anybody because in the areas that we live, cuts to school lunches and all of that is going to devastate our community, especially our young people, because if you're going to school hungry, you can't focus on no education if your stomach is growling, so you're going to be focused on that. So it's so many things that we're going to have to address in the coming days. And that's why it's important that we be both politically and social as much as possible, dealing with the social programs as much as possible. All Meals on Wheels, they're talking about cutting that. They're talking about cutting Social Security, the things that help the elderly. I'm one of those elderly people, so I'm going to be out there fighting for it because we paid for it. They always entitlement. Yeah, I'm entitled to what I paid for. I'm entitled to Medicare because I paid for it. You're not giving me anything. I paid into Social Security for years before I retired. So don't tell me nothing about no entitlement and making it a negative. No, it's a positive for me, and it's a positive for everybody that have worked and paid into it and continue to, for those who continue to work and pay into it. And then you got Elon Musk rat running around telling people they're gonna have to suffer while he making 400 more every day. He making maybe 10, $15 million a day, while the rest of us are suffering. But he wants us to suffer. And then he's talking about $55 billion bailout. 55 billion parachute for himself out of Tesla. But we supposed to suffer. Here's a man who has disrupted, who is disrupting our country and democracy. And this is why we got to be in the street. We got to let him know that we are not afraid of him or Trump. And that's what they want. They want you to be afraid of them. They want to strike fear in the hearts of the people, but we got to let them know in no uncertain term, no, we don't fear you. This country belongs to the people, not to you, not to anybody else. And this is why we have to be in the streets.
Hey, Jerry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, listen, I got Mrs. Lewis on the phone, and she had a little issue coming in on Zoom because she hadn't downloaded the app. But I think she can hear me on the phone. Miss Lewis, can you hear me? Can you speak up a little bit?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Mr. Watson.
Okay,
I sure can.
All right, can y'all hear Miss Lewis?
I hear, yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, folks, what's been going on? There's an article written the other day, and it's affecting Mrs. Lewis and her business and her personal life, and it's something that's been dealing with. We got another issue that we have to deal with in this community. Okay, now, Ms. Lewis, do you want to take it from here and explain to the audience?
Thank you so much. I am Celestine Lewis, the director of the Jacqueline Harris Preparatory Academy. I have here a complaint that was filed. It's 21-234. And it was by Mr. Thomas Danheiser. And it appears in Mr. Rick Austin paper, the independent paper. And I'm reading something here to you. In 2019, I noticed, without particular concern, I'm just reading this, a Pensacola News Journal story about the development of an upscale residential project on the historic McReynolds Elementary School property in East Hill. Well, we occupied that and purchased that building. But look, I'm going to go down underneath. In casual conversation, a friend of mine mentioned to me that he thought that the property had been transferred to Celestine Lewis personally. I just want you all to know that we've been harassed with public records. We've been harassed with getting it there on a timely manner. In other words, though, this complaint was dismissed. It was filed on December the 15th, 2021. That's 5 years now. It was dismissed on March the 9th. I appeared before the school district for not Annie McReynolds, but for Dixon School. And after that, I guess he just is writing articles or whatever it is, but it's not so much as that. But I'm thinking in terms of here in Escambia County, we have done Revisiting Pensacola, and the same thing that happened in 1951 with Mr. Nick Williams and Dr. Polkinghorne. They were running for city council, and they had to choose between business or running. Well, we've been in operation for 24 years. And now, with this, public records, attorney fees, and whatever that has been dismissed, state's attorney badgered us. It's been dismissed, but it's the idea of the struggle is still alive. So on Wednesday at 8190 Pensacola Boulevard, I have these documents. I just want us to revisit Black History. I'm doing a Revisit Black History press conference at 6:30 in our chapel. And we're located at 8190 Pensacola Boulevard. So you can just see, gentlemen and ladies, the struggle is not over. I just needed to say that to you.
Okay. One of the things
is at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday.
Yes, 6:30. It's going to be, the press conference is going to be held at the Jacqueline Hare Preparatory Academy at 6:30 on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening.
Yes, sir. And I will show these exhibits. That's all. I want the public to be made aware. This has been going on now for 5 years. Better than that, 19 when it first started. But the complaint was filed on December the 13th, 2021. Resolution came. No charges of allegations found, dismissed, but it's still going on. I just would like the community to be made aware. That's all.
So we inviting everybody to come out, the community, news organizations, everybody to come out on Wednesday.
Everybody.
Wednesday
So
to come out and support.
If
you know all the great work Ms. Lewis been doing in this community, now is the time to rally behind her. Now is the time to help her. She have done so many things in this community, and so many unsung things that she's done in this community that people don't even know about. So now she needs she needs your help, because this issue of keeping this old issue going is running her reputation. It costing her money, and it has to stop at some point. And this is her effort to make the community aware of what's going on and see if we can put a stop to this harassment. Y'all have any questions for Ms. Lewis?
Just that she, we hope that, well, what I want to say is, when you're talking about Black students and you're talking about Black representation, that's what we need.
Yeah, hold on. Jerry's speaking now. She can't hear you, Jerry, but I can hear you. She's going to repeat it.
Okay. I was just gonna say, we need people like Miss Lewis so that our children can see somebody that's in the position of authority that look like them. That can, so they will have they can look to the future, see to make sure that they can obtain the same thing, the same thing that she's doing. So we need that representation. You call us alma maters, but we say other mothers because they're the one who will teach our children in the future. So yes, we need to be there to help Miss Lewis to make sure that everything that she's done, have done, and will do in the future is projected to our children.
Okay, hey Jared, she unfortunately because we on the phone, it's a one-way communication, so she can't hear you. But does anybody have any question for Miss Lewis while I got on the phone? I can relay it to her, and then but you can hear her. Okay, anybody have any question for her?
Let her know we'll be there.
Okay, Miss Lewis, they said they will be there in your support on Wednesday night.
Thank you so much, Mr. Watson. I appreciate you very much.
Oh, no problem. Anybody else got anything for Miss Lewis before she go? And Miss Lewis, and good luck with all the endeavors. We'll be there Wednesday night. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hey, one other thing before you leave, I got to say this too. And Derek, I know it's my time. On Tuesday, the Jacqueline Harris Preparatory Academy is sponsoring a Black History program down at the Kakua Institute at 5 o'clock on Tuesday. So we want you to be there as well, okay? To support the Black History down at the Kakua Institute.
Revisiting Pensacola's Black History at 6 o'clock, and the reception will be starting at 5 o'clock. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lewis. We appreciate you, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Okay. That was mine, Derek.
Okay. All right. I forgot. Mr. McDuck, did you finish yours, or are you good?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right. Cheryl, what do you have for us today? Oh, you got it? Okay.
So I have a couple things going on. I am releasing a country music single that I wrote with featuring Jared McConnell. He's a local country music artist in the Gulf Coast area, and that single called Walk Away comes out on Friday of this coming week. So I'm excited about that. And I'm also going to be a panelist at the Black Beauty Expo on March 8th with Real Women Radio. So
before you move on, Derek, I'd like to say that our banquet will be at It's Personal by Sheila's, and we want to thank her. She's doing some in-kind stuff for us. We really appreciate it, and I got to say it in the public that we really appreciate it, which is It's Personal by Sheila's on Savanti Street, and I got to make sure I have the address and the right address. I know it's on my flyer, but I'll announce that later.
It's at It's Personal by Sheila is at 2610 West Cervantes Street.
2610 West Cervantes Street.
All right, thank you. Jill, what do you have?
Good evening, everyone. I can share for Okaloosa. I don't have anything personally, but for Okaloosa County, we have our municipal elections March 11th. So we are, it's a little confusing. And so I hope that everybody's understanding that literally right now you could have in Okaloosa County, you could have two different ballots, one for the March 11th and one for the April 1st. Please make sure you return both of them if you are doing vote by mail. We want to encourage anyone who lives in Fort Walton Beach to vote for 2 instead of 3, but 2 for city council, and that would be Sonia Vasquez and Debbie Riley. They are both fighters for our community. The city of Fort Walton Beach needs to have representation that like the community. And because of the things that are going on, if we don't make a change, we were at a meeting at the DEC meeting, and they both spoke and they talked about how the watch group is ready to take away their police department to make Fort Walton Beach part of the county and literally take away any internal structure that they have and give it to the county. And so we're asking you to fight for not just true representation, but for 2 people that will help us keep Fort Walton Beach. I don't live there, but it's beautiful. They have beautiful beaches, and we need to make sure that we don't sit back. I think for most of what we've heard today, a lot of people are still sitting at home. And you're watching the TV, or you're listening to it on the radio, or you hear your friends, or you're in the barbershop, beauty salon, church, wherever, and you hear all the issues and the problems, but yet you're still not moving. So if you're not going to phone bank, and you're not going to text, and you're not going to knock on doors, then the least and the best you can do is just to go vote. So we can, and Cheryl said this eloquently earlier, the politics is local. It's really local. And so we have the opportunity in Congressional District 1, in your municipal elections, and all of the different cities that have them, in House District 3 that'll be coming up right behind that, to take back our own community, to take back our district, and to make history and impact the United States. So for me, I think it's just critical that we get engaged, we get involved, and we don't sit back and we're not quiet. The other thing is we had a wonderful program yesterday at Striving for Perfection. The Ebony Arts Alliance put on their Black History Art Festival, and it was amazing to see all of the different art and the different people that came in and the young people that were engaged. Just very exciting. We also had a booth. We were able to register almost 30 people for vote by mail. And so things are moving, but we need to make sure that we're aware of what's going on and that we share it. And Derek, I'm not sure if you're sharing the information for Monday and Tuesday, but there is an all call. I'm hoping you're going to share it because Jerry and Vernon asked, what is the FDP doing? What are the Democrats doing? What is the Democratic National Committee doing? Well, they are having an all-call Zoom tomorrow where they're going to tell you exactly what they're doing, exactly how they're going to engage in CD1 and CD6. And so you guys are all invited. Derek's going to make sure you get the information, but also we'll post it on social media. Everyone's invited. Come listen and see that you too can be a part of this movement. And then on the next day, Tuesday, we have the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida and the Florida Democratic Party have partnered together. We are doing, again, a huge Black History get together, get some information. Congresswoman Sheila McCormick, Chefros, I can't say her name. What's her name, Derek?
Sheriffless McCormick.
Yes, that right there. She will be there and she is phenomenal. You will hear from some other people. And of course, our 2 candidates, Gay Valamont in Congressional District 1 and Josh Wheel in Congressional District 6. And we are inviting you to come be a part of this phenomenal opportunity to make and be the change. So I know Derek's gonna put some stuff up, so I don't want to say too much. Oh, Vernon has something.
Yes. I do have something that I think is you're going to like from me.
Okay, what?
Something that the Democratic Party is doing great, because I have been seeing on TV and on billboards and everything how they've been promoting Gay Vallimont. I mean, she got a professional ad agency promoting it now, and everything is A1. Money's coming in from somewhere, and I'm so glad to see that. Gosh, I was driving around. I was driving today, and a big old billboard popped up there with her, and I've been looking at and she has some great. Have y'all seen the commercials yet? She has some great commercials. Okay, you got
I
to
was
look.
talking about first one last week during Law and Order Special Victims Unit. So,
Yeah, she got one on Jimmy Patronis. She got one on on about the veterans, and something else she got on in. But they are great and well done, and they are not cheap stuff. Is somebody putting some money into her coffer, and I'm
Right.
so glad to hear that. Okay.
Now, Vernon, are they advertising on WBQP also?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. They haven't done so. I hadn't got my money yet, but yes, they called me last week and said they are going to be. And I promoted a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, I did a show with her, promoting her show. I did that pro bono, and a half an hour show that we're doing. But they are going to be doing some advertising with me. And the good part about it, I didn't have to solicit it. They solicited me, so I'm happy.
Good.
I'm happy to
Good.
hear that. Okay.
Yes.
look at God.
That's all, Derek.
Okay, Jill, were you done?
I can be done.
No, you don't have to be done. I want.
Well, you only
I'm
have
just
13 minutes, and you need to go over all of the election stuff. So
Okay, so I guess I will do that. Let me first start by saying, if you hear this beat, I am going to
You can't
stress
hear me.
now. I don't want to hear anybody saying, "Ooh, Derek, change your smoke detector." That's super thing. It is not my smoke detector. It is the alarm system, because again, my cable, internet, and phone service through AT&T Uverse, they've decided not to fix anything, just let it go by the wayside. It's been out for almost 48 hours now, and they aren't doing anything about it. So if you hear a beep when I'm talking, it is not my smoke detector. It is the alarm telling me there is not enough. So having said that, I want to just, since Jill brought it up, I will share where we are, that you heard it then because it's loud. The national organizing call tomorrow with Congressional District 6 that Jill, or Congressional District 1 and 6, that you all can be a part of. Please reach out. It is via Zoom. It is from 7 to 8:30, which I know they did this flyer, which means it is from 6:30 to 7:30 our time, because they always forget we are in Central Time. So it's going to have the Chair Nikki Fried and David Hogg and Gay Vallimont, as well as Josh Weil and all these other folks that I have no earthly idea who they are, but I'm certain that they must be somebody important because they're going to be on the call. So please, if you want to attend, reach out to Jill, reach out to me or anybody. We can tell you how to get on that call. You can call the Escambia Democratic Party office at 850-407-7997, and they will answer. But I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. We talked about it. Jill said it, so I'm going to say it again because I think repetition is key. That there is an election April 1st, and everybody, you heard a compelling story with Ty Gadsden and all the things that we go through, that she went through during her time at Pensacola High School with Mark Rogers. These things happen because we don't do the bare minimum. And the bare minimum is voting. If we can show up and show out, we can start affecting and seeing the change that we so need. And so everybody's talking about, as I talked about, folks calling because their SNAP benefits are going away and they want us to protest. Folks calling because their Section 8 is going away and they want us to protest. Folks calling because the eggs are up and they want us to protest. Well, here's your opportunity to protest April 1st. And that is your opportunity to stop the changes that we're seeing and elect Gabe Alamont to Congress in this next election cycle. It can only happen if you get out and go vote. So what does that look like? We have plenty of things that we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to participate in. If you aren't aware that if you aren't registered to vote, you have up until March the 3rd to register to vote. This election is going to be heavily focused on vote by mail ballots, and vote by mail ballots have gone out. If you're in the sound of our voice, those who are registered for vote by mail should have already received their vote by mail ballot. If you have not received a vote by mail ballot, that means you have not re-enrolled in vote by mail this year. Your vote by mail enrollment expired on December 31st, 2024. So you need to renew that. So if you want to vote by mail, you can call any one of the supervisor of elections office in Escambia. It is 850-595-3900. Again, that's 850-595-3900, and call and tell them that you want to get a vote by mail ballot for all elections through 2026. If you don't do so, I'm telling you, one of us will probably be calling you, because we are phone banking to make sure that everybody who was enrolled in vote by mail gets an opportunity to cast their ballot. So please make sure you do that. You can also go on the Supervisor of Elections website in Escambia. That's escambiavotes.gov. I was trying to talk, so I'm sure Jill can tell you what the telephone number for the Supervisor of Elections office is in Okaloosa, and that number is
850-689-5800. 850-689-5800.
And call and tell them that you need a vote by mail ballot. And it's imperative that when you call, you make sure you tell them you want it for all elections. So that will cover you all the way through December 1st of 2026. So please make sure that you do that. We have, as Jill mentioned, plenty of opportunities. We went out to canvass today in the rain. That's how important this election is. So while it was pouring down and thundering and we looking above, we're out knocking on people's doors. I know people are like, why the hell are you knocking on my door in a rainstorm? But that's because we want to make sure that you know that there's a special election. So please, if you want to help, I know Escambia Democrats are knocking doors every Saturday and every Sunday from 1:30 to 4. Really, it's 2 to 4. You get a 20-minute talk, and then you're out to go canvass. If you can't canvass, you can, if you have some time, make phone calls. We make phone calls every day, but we make phone calls collectively together on Tuesdays and Fridays, right? Isn't it Tuesdays and Fridays? Tuesdays and Fridays. Every day in the evening, you can reach out to Jill or I, and we can tell you how to make those calls, or you can call our office and we can put you in contact. Even if you need to know, even if you aren't in Escambia and you want to know how to make phone calls just to get involved, I can tell you how to do so for Okaloosa. I can tell you how to do so for Escambia. I can tell you how to do so for Santa Rosa. Just get engaged and get involved. If you can't do that, I'm going to even take it a step further. I know Jill said just go vote. I'm going to even tell you to just tell 5 people to go and vote, and take those 5 people with you to go and vote. You go vote, but take the other people with you to go and vote as well.
Can we add that? I'm
yeah.
sorry, can we interrupt and say 10? 5 didn't work in 2024,
yeah,
so we
right.
need to say 10 in 2025.
Yeah, if you remember last year, I think we said I even increased my number to 50, and that ain't work either. So if we go, we gonna say 100 folks. If we can get 100 folks to go and vote. If you're one of those people that say, I don't want to vote by mail because I don't trust the mail service, or you heard that Donald Trump is taking over the post office, that's okay. You can still get a vote by mail ballot. And every one of the early voting locations has a drop box that is manned by the Supervisor of Elections. You can go and take your vote by mail ballot and drop it off in that secure drop box. And that way you have the experience of going to go vote and the ease of voting by mail all together. So please just make sure you do so. Again, early voting starts March 22nd through the 29th, and the election day voting is April 1st. So you have some time still to request a ballot. You can do so by March 13th. And we got 5 minutes. Oh, I want to give a shout to Mr. Larry Williams, board member for Emerald Coast Utilities Authority for District 3 here in Escambia County, for putting on a great third annual prayer breakfast. We heard from Representative Thomas Action Jackson, who is the Alabama State Representative for District 68. He was a great and insightful, and we heard from Pastor Bryant of Spring Hill Baptist Church, and he delivered a wonderful sermonette. So thank you to him for having such a great breakfast. And again, thank you as always to the Pensacola Improv for doing what they do for the community and providing a great venue and great food. And I think that's all I have. And so I know we only have 4 more minutes, Mr. McIntosh, but I don't know if there's anything you want to.
Yeah, I want to.
Jill said she came off. She has something she wants to say.
Oh, I just thought Mr. McIntosh was going to share some books with us because I think the last 2 weeks it's been after 9 o'clock.
yeah. Just I want to say also, I want to thank the Elks for inviting me to speak yesterday on Black History over there. It was a really nice program. I did speak. I did get a chance to do my poem on Call of the Drums. As you know, the drum was banned in America for a long time from us because we used the drum to communicate over in Africa at the time. So I did get a chance to do that, but I will do my books this week. I know it's Jill, did you have something else you want to talk about? I can do this in a minute. So.
No, you're good. We have 3 minutes. I think we share your books and give Vernon back a minute from all the ones we stole the last couple of weeks.
Okay. This book is called Breaking the Curse of Willie Lynch by Alvin Morris. This is a great book, Breaking the Curse of Willie Lynch. And also, this one is Know Thyself by Dr. Naeem Akbar. I want you to definitely read these 2 books because they have some great information in it. When they said know thyself, it's a powerful thing when you know yourself. And knowing yourself is knowing your history of who you are, and knowing and teaching it to the next generation and to your children. I also talked about remembering our ancestors because that is important. Our ancestors, we are our ancestors. I know people say, I'm not my ancestor. I would have did this if I. No, you wouldn't, because you wouldn't have had the opportunity to do those things. The Nat Turners of the world, they was strugglers and fighters, and but they still was slaughtered by the hands of, and even back then you didn't have law enforcement on your side nor National Guards or the military. So it's always been us against America as a whole, because America never respected us in the way that we should have been respected. So we have to remember the Jane Lawsons of the world, the Shirley what's her name? Shirley Franklin and Irene Dobson and Brooke Jackson, Coretta Scott King and Nina Simone and Nat Turner. We have to remember Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, and Huey Newton and Bobby Seale and Touré and Kathleen Cleaver and Eldridge Cleaver and Elaine Brooks and David Hill. Malcolm X and Louis Farrakhan, who is still here with us, Rosa Parks, and John Lewis, who fought the great fight, where we will always go to Selma every year and cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and Medgar Evers and Ella Baker, Julian Bond, Byron Rusting, Philip Randolph and Jane Farmer, W.E.B. Du Bois. We have to remember all of our people who fought with us and fought for us in history, and Shirley Chisholm, Thurgood Marshall, Frederick Douglass, Jackie Robinson. You know, we have to remember, and we have to make sure our children remember as well, so that we must never forget our ancestors. We must call on our ancestors to be with us for the days and the days to come. I know our time is up, but I will make sure that people remember the poem that I have put together in the coming days. So, Eric, back to you.
Okay. I will say what we did not do this show, but we were going to make up for it next week, is to do we're going to do 2 Black History Month facts, because we did not do one today. So please make sure you have 2 ready to go. And
although, Derek, we had a whole lot of Black History facts between Jerry and what's the gentleman's name that was on here?
Jermaine.
Yep, Jermaine. They kept going back and forth, Malcolm X, and back and forth.
Oh,
back and forth. We had a lot of Black History facts.
Yeah, but I know the audience wants to hear one from you, Jill, and so we did not.
Okay, just for me? Okay.
Yeah, from you. So they look.
What do you want to hear, audience? Let me know, and I'll
in
make
the
sure.
comments, they say they want to hear from you. So we want to make sure we give the people what they want. So we thank you all for tuning in with us. We look forward to seeing you next week. Be safe. Have a great week. And remember to sign up for Vote by Mail. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.